Hi, my name is Jeff Crowder. With us today is my brother Curtis Lewis. He's also a member of Research Lodge here in Oregon. And we want to discuss a couple of very important issues, I believe, that all Freemasons should be discussing. One, I would like to bring up race. It's one of the things that people don't normally talk about, and it's one of these taboo subjects. No one wants to admit that racism is still very prevalent in America, but more directly, that would directly affect us is how racism is still intertwined with Freemasonry here in America. Out of all places in the 21st century, there's racism in Freemasonry. In fact, can you give me some examples of your personal experiences with racism dealing with Freemasons?
I've been to several places around the country and throughout the world, and but more so here, where you can go in the lodges, be introduced to brothers, and they refuse to shake your hand. Or if you try to petition a lodge and they need members, and they know if you're a person of color, they still deny your petition. And it's all because of your origin, nationality, or race. But yet they hold up the Bible and saying these is our rule and guidelines. However, if they paid close attention to John 3:16, God so much loved the world, he gave his only begotten son, the world. We all got to live here together. So to divide us and to separate us and then categorize us is beyond the human nature of things. And especially here in America, when we're known to be the melting pot for the world. But yet, there's individuals here that refuse to do so.
And it dates back millennia. It goes back a long, well, not millennia, but it goes back a very, very long time. Throughout the history of slavery in America, and even the Civil War, one of the most famous Freemasons in the world, who also happened to be a Civil War general,
Brother
Albert Pike.
Wow.
He was, and you said you had a few quotes from Albert Pike.
Yeah, but the ideas and his views were good, but he stated in a book that we all read as Masons, Morals and Dogma, and he said, quote, he took his oath of obligation from white man, and if he should take accept a brother, Negro as a brother, he would leave Masonry. Back then, and you got to understand, this country was founded on racism. And the reason why they brought over Africans during that particular time of their rebuilding here, they couldn't do it to the natives because they knew the land and they couldn't run away. So they imported Africans over here. Lo and behold, they didn't know where they was and they don't know where to run. So therefore, they had to remain captive because they didn't know where to go to.
Yeah.
So even though they said, okay, you're emancipated, you're the Emancipation Proclamation, okay, you're free. You never got anything, so you was left out in the cold. Where could you go? Everything you had was right there on that plantation, a roof over your head and a little of something to eat.
Yeah, and it is sad to think that even today, that there's so much racism going on, in the I would say throughout most of the history of America, white supremacists rule. Even all the politicians, the president, even Abraham Lincoln himself thought there was a difference between blacks and whites. That he thought that white people were indeed more superior, even though he didn't support slavery. He was a white supremacist. Almost everybody was a white supremacist back then. And think about the Emancipation Proclamation when he freed the slaves. It took another 100 years before the civil rights were passed.
And still today, a lot of them are still trying to be stricken from the rules and the laws of the land. But you got to figure the country was so much founded on that. So until the younger generation coming up now are realizing that you can't hold a person accountable just because of the color of their skin. You got, again, like the words of Martin Luther King, you got to judge a man by the contents of his character, the way he reacts out in public, what he does. His accolades should speak for itself. But then, too, Lyndon Baines Johnson said this back in the 60s. You can get the poorest white man, and you can get the most highly intelligent black person there is. You can have a PhD. But if you tell him that he's better than that educated black man, he'll reach in his pocket and give you every penny he's got.
It's a very profound and true statement. And I've seen that personally growing up in Memphis. I grew up in the 70s in Memphis, and I've seen a lot of changes right after Martin Luther King was shot.
Even in the military in Vietnam, we had to go through that. So,
yeah.
And then there's people slowly saying, well, it's not a bad person, because I met somebody in the Marine Corps, was aboard ship. And I believe he's out of West Virginia. He said, you all right? And I was stunned to say, I'm all right. He said, you're not like anything that I heard. I said, what did you hear? And then he explained to me about the racism that he grew up with, such as yourself, until you came around, because, again, America's a melting pot. And if you give anybody a chance to show their worth.
Yeah. Okay, so I do want to touch on a couple of states that are still having problems today as far as racism. And I love the craft. I love being a Freemason, and I love, what it means and the symbolism, and I love talking about it and being able to relate. And my personal view is, it doesn't matter if, it doesn't matter what color is your skin. It doesn't matter if you're gay or what matters. There's two things that really matter. If you're a good man and if you believe in God. Those are the two, really the two good requirements for becoming a Freemason. And the color of the skin should not have anything to do with it at all. However, you said, and I believe you, I've actually looked it up. There are a couple of states, and surprise, surprise, in the South. Yeah, there's a couple of states in the South, if you can believe it, that still in the 21st century won't let a black man join their lodge. And I think that needs to change, because that's the opposite of my view of what Freemasonry really, truly is.
Well, it's time and understanding. It takes time. See, a lot of hate is embedded, not only in this country, but people are planting seeds in their children. And that seed is carrying on, that racism. And it will be, and I believe there will be a time when people are judged by the content of their character and not the color of their skin.
Well, I agree. And if it took 100 years from slavery to end for the blacks to get their civil rights passed in the laws, right now it's only been about, 40, 50 years since then. And,
before they stop hanging people of color?
yeah. The last known lynching I know was like 1986 or something. That's the one that's on the that I've looked up.
Well, it's probably more that's probably hadn't been reported. It's just like this gentleman that was drugged in back of a truck, and they executed the two guys that did it.
Yeah.
Everybody's hurt behind that. Not only the people's family that executed, but the family that he killed. For what? What did he die for? Just coming from the store on his way home, minding his own business.
Yeah, that's what's got to change. And you're right. It's not only important that the older ones who are really, really racist, eventually they're going to die off. But the problem is they're planting seeds of racism in the next generation. The next generation,
Absolutely.
You have pictures of families, dressed in Klan. The mother and father are dressed in the Klan outfit, and their little kid had a little Klan outfit on, and that's horrifying. I think they are a lot more crazy, radical, right-wing, white supremacists,
conservative Christians.
Conservative Christians that are heavily armed and a lot of times heavily medicated and very, very angry. Curtis? Thank you for being here. I appreciate it, brother.
So mote it be.
Yeah. So mote it be.